Hey guys, Merry Meet. This is Anastasia Autumnfire, and this is week 3 of my YouTube Pagan Challenge. Do you have an altar, shrine, or sacred space? I do. This is my working altar slash workspace because I am very much at crafting, which I love sitting at this workspace, which is a kitchen table. Um, and making incense, making candles, reading tarot, doing workings, things like that. This is kind of my main area, and I'm still not quite done with it because I had this wondrous idea of adding some more elements to it. So I'm it's still kind of in process, but this is kind of what I've got so far, so I wanted to kind of take you through it for my video. And I'm apologize if it's shaky. I'm doing it by hand, so that's always kind of an interesting thing. So from this point of view, it's the center of my shrine or altar. I think I'm going to start with the goddess side and kind of work my way over. So for me, my goddess side is, if I'm sitting at my altar, it's on my left-hand side. I know some people have that switched. For me, this just seems to be, it's where it feels right. It's in the earthen quadrant. It very much connects to that energy, and yeah. So over here, this is actually a box that I got for Yule. And in it, I've got my tarot deck and pendulum for divination. I love crows, absolutely adore them. Crows and ravens, really, and I do find them very much a connector to my matron goddess. So you've got that, and then 3 pentacles for Maiden Mother Crone, so that always makes me happy. Then over here, I have, at the back there, is actually a ceramic cauldron. I've got a shell that one of my friends, Nancy, has given me, a cauldron that I got for Yule from my friend Kristen. Back there I have a crow or a raven candle. In here I kind of have a shadow, sorry, I'm getting up so that I can get a better shot here. Kind of a shadow good folk area. A little amethyst statue back there with a fairy on it. A little fairy shot glass for me to put drinks and such, offerings into. A selenite crystal. And then here, I actually got this for Yule from a friend on Facebook, and she didn't include if this was a spell or if this was just a sachet bag or a gree bag or mojo bag. There's the word I'm looking for. But I absolutely adore it. It's got the little crow skull on there, a feather, a pine cone, and lots of hag stones, which I absolutely love. So I have that also kind of in my good folk area. Here, I kind of messed it up by pulling that up. I've got my pentacle for earth with my lodestone, and then 4 stones as well. This is also the altar that I use to signify the sabbat. So we're coming up on Imbolc. So I've got onyx, bloodstone, garnet, and amethyst as stones to represent that sabbat coming up. This is a little acorn that I got from my friend Nancy. The body of it is felt. She gave it to me for Yule, so we've got the red and green and white. And then the top is an actual acorn top. And it said if you put an acorn or have an acorn on your altar, it will help you with wisdom and connection to the goddess. So, of course, it's there. This is actually an hourglass that I got from Target of all places this last Halloween. And my matron goddess Hel is said to be half living and half dead, half skeletal and half maiden is how she's appeared to me in a few visions. So when I saw this, I thought it was perfect. It really helps me keep my thoughts on, you know, this life is fleeting. It is a life experience that is here and then it is gone, and it's just a reminder, I guess. Back here I've got my little chalice. I just got that at a little thrift store. This is my picture of Hel. I do not have a statue. I'd love to get a statue of her. I haven't found the right one just yet. But I absolutely adore this picture of her. Because she is depicted as half skeleton, half maiden. But she isn't... She's still loving and inviting, which is an energy which she first kind of showed to me. So I love that picture of her. Next to her, this is wax that I have that I melt as an offering to her. This is actually a skeletal hand I got at Michael's this last Halloween. It's very symbolic for me because it is, I've read a couple places where it's thought that she extends her skeletal hand to those who are living, and if they are ready to work with her, they'll accept it without fear. And that was kind of the first way she appeared to me, was in her skeletal half. And I wasn't fearful of it. When I woke up and kind of realized what I'd seen, then it was a thing. But at the time I was kosher with it, so it was kind of a good reminder. I've got another crow or raven candle. And then this one is actually an Imulk votive that I had made and dedicated to her, and I've been burning it a little bit. I have a little worry doll that I got for Yule. Again, I believe from Nancy. So I have that as well for an offering. I hold it whenever I have any worries or concerns, and then I give it to her. Another crow candle, which I've yet to dress fully. And then the taper candle back there is actually I've got two goddess candles on this altar. I'm not quite sure why quite yet. I might be adjusting that. But the candle holder is actually a glass cologne holder. The top part comes off. Let's see if I can take that off here. Not without two hands, sorry. So this part comes off, and inside I've put herbs that are sacred to Hel. So that is her candle. I also have a 7-day candle here that I have drawn things of the goddess on. I'm not that great of an artist, so please don't judge the artwork. But that is actually drawn with figures and insignia for both Caradwyn and Hel. I have a friend, Kristen, who works with Caradwyn, and sometimes we get together and do circles and such. So this is the candle that I bring when I work with her. So I did want to include Caradwyn on that candle. So that was my goddess side of my shrine, or my workspace is what I call it, my sacred space. This is a little bit of area that I've dedicated to myself within the elementals, within the elemental spirits. So this is actually an elemental totem that I've made. It's an oak branch with a crystal, a clear quartz point, and then you've got some rocks, some feathers. This is supposed to be representative of fire. And then on the other side, some shells you can see. And they're all, there's also oil consecrating it in the elemental occurrence correspondences. At the bottom in here, I've got my protection pentacle on there. Inside this is our herbs correlating with the elemental powers. So I kind of keep that there. The starfish in the middle is actually a dedication piece that I made and used in my dedication to my path. I use herbs and waxes that corresponded with the 4 elements. The middle, I put a white candle to represent myself and spirit. Or myself, I'm sorry, spirit is the purple on the top. And went outside and watched the actual blood moon lunar eclipse that we just had this last year. It was kind of a rededication. And I had to keep the candle burning the entire time until the candle had gone out on its own, or burned out, I should say. And then I put a lodestone on top of that and put some ancestor salt and I believe some herbs that represented me. So I have that always there, kind of as a remembrance of my path and of my dedication. Back here I have a Celtic skull. I've always loved the imagery of skulls, which was actually kind of an indicator that, yes, Hel made sense as a matron goddess. It was kind of one of those, oh, that makes sense moments. And I really like this piece. It kind of combines Cernunnos and Hel together. Cernunnos also he has his light aspect, but he also does have his dark aspect where he does become an underworld god. But I like the life and vibrancy of the green and the gold, but it being part of a skull, it just kind of, for me, shows an illustration almost of how death and rebirth kind of go hand in hand, and how life comes from death always. And it just reminds me of the cycle, and again is a good thing to ponder while I'm meditating. So now the God side of my workspace, again, we've got the tall taper candle here. Again, in the candle holder there are some herbs sacred for Cernunnos. I do have a 7-day candle. This candle is dedicated wholly to Cernunnos at this point. My friend Kristen does not. She does have a matron goddess. She does not have a patron god at this point, and she doesn't really feel she's good with it. So I totally made this one up. If she was to find a deity that she would establish as a patron, at that point I would get a new candle, and I would just keep this for my own practice. I have an incense burner here, Tiger's Eye, as one of Cernunnos' stones. I have my lighter up here so I don't lose it. Some candles. In the oil burner is some oil that I burn specifically for Cernunnos. This block of wood is actually another incense burner if I want to hold a stick incense. Then I've got my bell for air as well. Back here is actually, sorry again, I'm moving the camera wonky. This is actually a drinking horn. So I have it here kind of as the male or the god chalice of sorts. Again, I made Imbolc votives and dedicated it to Cernunnos and burnt a little. Here is a ornament that I had made in Cernunnos' honor. Half of it is for his light aspect. The other side is for his dark aspect. So I kind of keep that up there and switch it based on the time of year. That's my picture for Cernunnos. I did find a statue I absolutely loved of his, and I did not buy it at the time. And now I will not buy any other statue but that one. Here I have, I believe this is a turkey feather. I actually had it sent to me from one of my witchy Facebook friends. On the back here I have another beautiful cauldron. My friend Brandon has gave me this for Yule this year. I keep it on the God side just because I like, if I'm working with God energy, I have a cauldron for him. If I'm working with goddess energy, I have a cauldron for her. And then I've got my ceramic one for all kinds of stuff. But I have that back here. This is kind of my light good folk area. I've got a little bottle here, and I got it as a Yule gift. I immediately saw it and related it to the good folk, although I didn't get confirmation that's what it was for. The energy on it just is so perfect for the Fae, in my opinion, for forest spirits and such, and I love it, so I have it over here. A little shot glass that I have for the light side, so to speak, and then an emerald, and then my athlame, and then over here I have what's left of my working candle. I need to melt that bad boy down and recreate it, and then I'm starting to add a little bit of things, some more things for Imbolc. I've got a dedication candle. I just made that candle for Imbolc, and then some beautiful pieces of nature that I got sent for Yule as well, and I absolutely love it. So I'm going to put that for my Imbolc things. But like I said, I'm kind of adjusting things around because I had this grand idea of making a shadow altar and a light altar. That's why you may have noticed when I was looking at the God side, I was referring to, this is like my light Fae, this is my dark Fae, and the goddess side, and this and that. It has nothing to do with negativity or positivity or good or bad. It's my goddess side I'm turning into kind of a shadow altar for me to do shadow work and meditate on those themes and kind of embracing that darker side of me, if that makes sense. Not darker as in negative, but more just things that are harder for me to accept, things that I struggle with, things that I don't like dealing with per se. She is definitely a goddess that works with that a lot, and I kind of am feeling called this year to focus on that. So I had the idea of, for my working altar that I sit at every day, to have kind of a light and dark to my altar. The altar will always reflect kind of that Imbolc, or not Imbolc, but sabbat that we're in. So the altar cloth here, I have kind of sunny, warm tones because it is starting to finally be spring, despite the fact that it's freezing outside and still very wintry in Minnesota. And I'm just not sure how, I know I've got things for the sabbat. I just need to figure out how to intertwine them with the idea of a shadow and a light, or I need to figure out better phrases for it too, because I don't like light and dark. A shadow I can deal with, but then I'm just not sure how to refer to the other side. I don't like saying light side because that can take on connotations that shadow is negative, and that's not necessarily true. So anyway, I'm starting to ramble, and I apologize. I will stop. So that is my workspace. You may have noticed I have little jars like this around my altar. This is something that I came up with to create a circle of salt. I've got salt, lavender, and bay leaf, angelica root, and I think that is it. Yeah, 4 items. And then I wrote the Ogham for protection on there. So I have that kind of set up around the altar to keep the sacred shrine almost space. It's more of a shrine, I guess, than an actual altar. To keep that space cleansed and purified and protected. When I do a spiritual working, I do pull those out and then place them around me as well, just to incorporate that circle. It's just one way I found of adding that little extra protection, and not creating a mess of salt. So yeah, that is the basis of my working altar, Sabbath altar workspace area. I hope that wasn't too long or rambly, and I hope that the camera stayed somewhat straight for part of the time. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful night. Blessed be.